Hey everyone, so I am here because I talked a little bit about digital gardens earlier on stream, and I figured I'd talk about it a little bit. So I have this app called Obsidian that I've been using to track what I do on a daily basis, on research topics up here, on just other things, some gameplay things, and I thought I'd show you a little bit. For example, I've been watching a show called Akudama Drive, and, you know, this is a place where I can write some notes. And that's pretty cool and everything. This is just in Markdown. But the nice thing about Obsidian is that you can make templates. So I have this TV series review template that I'm going to insert for this document which I have made called Akudama Drive. So I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to insert this template for TV series review, and then all I have to do is go like Akudama Drive, like so. I could put a photo of what it is. I'm using a plugin called Data View, which means that I can add some metadata to the document itself and it gets read accordingly. And if I put in the day I started watching this, which was 2022, it was August, what was last week? Last week, Friday, the 12th. Okay, so 2022, 8/12, and it's still going on, right? So, if I wanted to, I could split this vertically and have two views. This is what it looks like when it'll be published, so to speak, or like this is what the code produces. Now, obviously, this isn't really like that interesting visually, so I'm going to switch over here to another one that I've done, for example. Let's say one that I've filled out decently. One that doesn't have spoilers. Okay, so like Paper Mario. You see how there's like a lot of just text here or whatever. If I open Paper Mario in this is what it actually looks like. And this is what you would see on like a website. Go away, Epic Games. So there's that, which is really, really interesting to me. Same thing goes with like Omori, for example. All my games that I'm currently playing through are on there. It's pretty cool. So I also have like Cave Story in here and everything and all these other things. And the best part is, because I've applied some metadata to these, if I wanted to, I could keep track of the games that I'm playing through. So in code, they just use like this, and this is the Data View plugin. But if I wanted to see what that looked like, actually, you got this markdown table, and then you have the backlog that lists all the games that have the tag game review, right? So we can then take that back to games I've finished in 2022, for example, where it says, it takes from finished game 2022. Pretty straightforward. I apply that myself. But I've recently expanded it so that there's one for TV as well. Or like TV shows, which again, same basic thing. I have Akudama Drive right in here. So if I then wanted to add more stuff as I watch it, I would be able to do so. I'm about at episode 7 right now, so that's kind of the thing. But, you know, I also have various things about information and whatnot. So like, for example, Fisher information. This is something that I was doing for research purposes, right? And just reviewing a concept so I could explain it in a paper, for example. Now, the cool thing about this, though, is that each of these pages links to a different page that I've also written. So, for example, let's say from MLEM for Compton Imaging. I want to know what is Compton Imaging. Well, I can click on the page that is titled Compton Imaging, which I've also written, and go there. And let's say, okay, what does it mean to be shift invariant again? Well, I can click on the page that I made shift invariance, and it says if F1 maps to G1 and F2 equals F1 minus of X minus X naught, for example, F2 is a shifted version of X1, then a system is shift invariant if F2 maps to G2, and that's the same equals G X1 minus X0. So, yeah, it's just kind of a really helpful way to develop everything. So these are all very, like, conceptual things. You might call these, like, evergreen or literature notes or whatever. That's fine and all. But, like, there are some things also, like thinking about things. Like, what is the power of maximum likelihood? Through the use of maximum likelihood estimation, we can construct inferences, for example. Like, oh, I realized this. Like, this is something that came to my mind and I thought was writing down. Or like grad school as a boat on open water metaphor, where it's like there are different parts of stresses and strains in it. Or, for example, like Goldenrod City is where I'd want to live if I was in the Pokemon universe. I also have like video essay developments and academic writing, but I won't share those out of potential spoilers. I have some like natural developments. And then I also have like daily notes where I just keep track of things and everything. So it's really useful. And the very interesting thing about this too, I'm using an app called Obsidian. Obsidian also lets you indulge in some aesthetically pleasing things with a little bubble map, what have you, graph view. So you can go in and see what pages link to other pages. So, for example, I wanted to see what topics I spoke about in my group meeting on July 25th. It would be like Kramer-Rao lower bound, Compton imaging, Shockley-Ramo theorem, the previous meeting, the next meeting, you know, things like that. And I do have a bunch of orphaned notes as well, like Torricelli's trumpet or like Cave Story again, that just aren't linked with anything yet. Because this is not permanent when you put something into it, you can effectively consistently edit and update these as we go along, or if you make a new page, for example. And so when you go back, like if I have something, like if something I'm doing later, like for example in Paper Mario reminds me of something else related to Pokemon Heart Gold, I can go back and say, oh yeah, it reminds me of this. Or, you know, if I initially had Kirby and the Amazing Mirror in here, and this one isn't really linked with anything yet, but if I were to link it with Planet Robobot, for example, then on the map, it also gets linked. So that's something that I think is really cool. So I have, you know, finished reads, finished watches, all these things. It's just a very nice way to keep things all in my space all at once that I can easily reference in case I see something new or hear something new or want to add to a list. So that's kind of what I was talking about. And I think it's kind of cool. So yeah, trout tickling. Anyway, that's all. Hope you're all well. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more about this or like how I make more things, just let me know. Yeah, that's all.